What's going on, Maschine Masters family? My name is MGTheFuture. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'll be talking about a track by Meek Mill featuring Joyner Lucas called Run It. This is produced by Timbaland, and as you guys all know by now, I'm one of Timbaland's greatest fans. Trust me, there's no one who's a bigger fan than I am. I like Timbaland so much I bought Shock Value too. So, this particular track stood out to me because it's an example of blending two different tracks. And I'm going to play two examples for you. The first part is Meek Mill's part. It's about 16 bars or so. And then Timbo puts in this very smooth transition that goes into Joyner Lucas' part, where he kind of like raps for like 32, 48 bars. In that first listen, you don't notice that it changed. A couple of things changed. The beats changed, the percussion sounds changed, the rhythm changed, but more importantly, the music changed. And it's such a subtle thing that you may not identify what it is. So out of all the things that are going on in this track, I kind of want to experiment with that a little bit and kind of reveal some of those strategies to you guys. So the first thing I want to do is play the first part of the track, which is Meek Mill's part. In this particular project, we're at 140 beats per minute, which makes sense. Timbaland used to always do things double time, so for him to go to 70 beats per PM, which is more like a trap tempo, is right in his comfort zone. And it's the sample part of Meek Mill, and then the part where Meek Mill's rapping. I got it pitched and filtered so we can hopefully get away with doing this.
White girl to the bay, my hood, I'm at Drake, bitch. If money talk, why you niggas never say shit? If sky's the limit, why I'm riding in a spaceship?
So that's the first part. So you got a few things going on. You got these nice little staccato stabs going on, and while the staccato stabs are playing, you hear another sound in the background, which is way more clear when you pitch it down, and that's the audience. He has like an audience or an event or an arena sound. This is a technique that I showed you when blending vinyl with your sample. You can blend any instrument with any ambient noise, and that's what Timbo's doing. Then when the drums come in, the same old Timbaland patterns we expect to hear with the kick and snare relationship. However, he does some crazy stuff with the hi-hats. The second part, it transitions using this piece, the Joyner Lucas part, and then the drum pattern completely changed. Cool. So those both of the tracks, or it's one track, but it's both of the tracks, right? And I'm assuming because of Meek Mill's scenario, with him being locked up, that may have been a strategy that was out of necessity. You know, you can't finish a song without the person present. So he probably sent two different tracks out to these two artists and decided to marry them together, as long as all parties involved agreed to it. So that's a really dope look for Joyner Lucas to have a mainstream feature. And it's also really dope for Meek Mill to have a Timbaland feature. It's a good look for Timbaland because he's back and he's so competitive. So I like that. Now, the part that's going to be a little tricky is finding the keys of these. Initially, I used Serato. And Serato said the Meek Mill part, the beginning of the song was F minor. And then the Joyner Lucas part was A minor. This one's incorrect, but I know why it said A minor. I checked it in something else, and one's F minor and one's F major. So instead of him doing the traditional R&B thing where they do a turnaround, or they use a different voicing, or they use a different chords altogether, especially in trap, you notice in a lot of older trap beats, especially the Waka Flocka stuff, they'll be going and then it drops down 2 steps, but it's the same melody, same chords. Timbaland's just using the same key, F and F, but one's major, one's minor. So the one that's minor, I believe, is a 1-5-7 progression, and I believe that is Meek Mill's part. The one that's major, ironically, the one that sounds darker is Joyner Lucas' part, which this thinks is A minor. I'm going to play these samples, but I'm going to put them in the same key, out of key, just to see if we can hear any similarities to them in the same key. So this one first. And then this one also with a new key. Completely different. Two different beats. So we could do that with anything, really. So I'm going to use a new plugin that I've been experimenting with. It's called Scaler. And Scaler is perfect for this task because it allows us to pick keys and follow these Roman numerals, and then we can flip it with our own instruments. So what I'm going to do is go to scale mode. We're going to start on a minor 2, but instead of using F minor like them, I might use something else. I'm going to use A minor. So let's do A, choose type, minor, boom, we're good money. And then it reveals what kind of chords we have. I'll follow that first pattern, which is a 1-5-6. Cool. The rhythm of that is different for Timbo though. So this piano sound's really not going to sell it yet, but we're going to live. Now I want to add some more flavor to that. So I'm going to do a variation on the 1. Five is going to need it too. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because there's only 7 keys in the scale. So there's only 7 chords, and you only use about 6 of them. I actually like that, although that lost the voice. Make the 1 different. Even better. Move these over. Experiment, experiment, experiment. I want to live with that. Now we need an instrument for that. I'm going to use the Rolling Cloud. He had like a brass stab or something, right? So that's a brass sound. It's synthesized. My bets it's probably an Access Virus or Contact Library, knowing Timbo's style. Might even be the Novation. We'll try something. We'll find something. I need something with a sharp play style. A slap brass. That'll do. I want to export MIDI and drag it onto that. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this for now. So we got our key. It's A minor for this progression. I'm going to save this real quick because we are in a beta. Way too fast. So when it happens like that, based on this particular plugin algorithm, you can just time stretch it a little bit. And all you got to do is drag it. Make sure downbeats are downbeats. Now, when you get a chord progression like this, when you're following Roman numerals and progressions, try to stack these evenly by inverting them. So, for instance, moving this key down, moving this key down. This one's down, so I'll move it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, try to give them some kind of shape. Cool. Loop it up. And then what you could do is probably chop it. Got some extra keys here. Remove them. All right, so our first pattern is going to be called, what is that, brass? I'll extend it too. We don't need to though. So I'm going to do another one. I don't know what kind of instrument yet, but I call it major. This one was a little bit more romantic, right? It felt more Asiatic, more Asian. So we're going to put it in the major scale now, the scaler tool. So we switch this to A major. A major is a little bit trickier because it doesn't always sound as dramatic as what we just did. But their progression there was a 1, 7, 7, and the major scale is diminished. So there's another one there. It's a 1-7-2. Basically, it's 1, a passing chord of 7, and then 2. We're going to figure that out. Don't worry about the music theory speak. If you have this app or anything similar, or you draw it in piano roll, just follow along with what my MIDI ends up becoming. So get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of these. And while I remember it, let's save one more time, because I'm telling you, I haven't been the luckiest on this beta testing. All right, so major scale, 1, 7, and 2. Go back to diatonic chords. 1, 7's diminished, 2. That's really goofy, so I'm gonna put them in there though. I want these to be a little bit more romantic. So the 1, not anything over 9. Maybe that. And then that 7, how many options does diminish have? It just throws it out. That might work. These work together. Okay, so this one, there's got to be a tone in there. It just doesn't work. But we're going to make it work. And I'm going to show you how. Because it's just a passing moment or a passing chord. So I am going to export that. I want to double my concerto. Call the first one brass, because that's what it was. So I know I'm dragging it to the right one. Now what I have to do is do the same thing. I'm going to, this is the root note. I'm going to move it down. Okay. I might be able to double it up. Okay, sounds like Jeopardy now. So we need to space these something like this, and then double time it like that. Yeah, very Jeopardy-ish. I ain't got time for that. But I'm gonna half it so it doesn't sustain that long. Something more like this. So you barely hear it happening. And then the sound has to be on point. Like when we think of the ethnic stuff, anything that says ethnic in this library or whatever you got will work. Flutes even. And you can fix that timing later. What I like to do though is not even struggle through that chord voicing and arpeggiate it. I need y'all to remember that was trance 4. I need to copy that and paste it real quick, because now I know what to do. Now I got it. Y'all remember what number that was, right? Because I lost it just like that. Was it trance 4? Bruh. Now I want to see if I can slide this note. I don't think slide and portamento work with MIDI data. I want to try it though. It don't. It'd be so dope to staccato or things that flutes do. It's like what is it called? There's a word for it. We can do it. You could do it with sound fonts. I just don't think VSTs respect FL Studio's piano roll gangster, which is fine. So this is a flute. and I'm gonna clone it. I don't put like some kind of sound that's more like an ARP or something that moves, so a choir would work. I want to drop it. And maybe chop this one too. It's all in the idea. But let me see if it moves like it moves, just like that. Let's unmute our first VST. I have a better idea. I want to try D minor real quick. Because I want that darker. So what I can do is this. We're going to flip it just like this. I'll export this. I'm going to call it Asiatic. Cool. And then this other one, we're going to just call this brass. Call it drumline, brass drumline. It means something to me. All right. Then, scratch all of that. I'm going to put a new Serato in here for the first one, because that happy stuff got to go away. I'm not a fan. I got it in spirit. I just need it in execution. I want to see if that works. Yeah, it will. And then I'm going to duplicate that and do the brass on another one. What about D? I want to try it like that. Yeah, it's not such a big jump anymore. And what I need to do to that Asiatic one, I need to halftime it. You can do that with a plugin, but Serato will let us do it really easy. There we go. Now I just got to extend it. Money. Cool. That works a lot better. So I halftime that so the staccatos had the same vibe as the first part. So when it changes, your ear still hears that D on the beginning on both of them, because they're the same. They start with the same key on both. They start with ones on both. But obviously something changed. So that's really cool. Like I said, I kind of hacked that at the last minute because Timbaland be on some other stuff, man, and I really appreciate how much I learned from him. So now I got that going. I got that on one track. I'm going to be fine. Now the drums, tomato, tomato. I don't think any of us can sit here confidently and say we got the drums down. I know I don't. But I'm going to show you a couple of cool things that I do know in terms of that style of drum programming that might help you or shine some light on some of that stuff. He's using bass lines on the first half. He's using actually subtone. So something like that. So I'm going to go in pitch editor and see what key this is in. This one. So all these in the Renaissance, which are in the Maschine Masters shop, these are all tuned to C. So I'm very grateful for that. Now the key of our joint is in D. So you don't have to do anything here. You just got to know you got to draw it on D. So I got my bass sound. Timbo is the king of ghost kicks. So you get a kick like that that's kind of like, huh? And then you get one that's a little bit more textured. So something like that. He's the kick of ghost snares and rim shots. So he loves snares like that. He loves snares like that. I'll put 4 snares in here. I doubt I'm going to use them all for this demonstration. Then hi-hats gets kind of scary because he uses so many of them. And you can't tell just off gate. We need one just for triplets though. So what I would do in a Timbaland type joint is just go back and forth with the hi-hats. So something like this. I'm going to extend piano roll just a bit. Cool. All right, so I need that twice. Now the kick I'll start with first. I'm trying to think, like, he does a lot of double kicks like this. And then your ghost kick or your double kick can follow it on most of the notes. So I might do something like this. I just got to figure out which one sounds better as a ghost kick. All right, so this one sounds better. And then the snares, he's alternating them. That one's first since it's stronger. And then he has the old school hip hop snares where trap doesn't have this pattern. It's something unique to hip hop, but it usually falls here. And then the triplets, just like every other tutorial I did with Metro and all of them, just for the sake of trying to compete with Timbaland's triplets, we're not going to go that hard. I'm going to just stay in my lane and hit us with the 3 steps. What was that? Yeah, there we go. And I might change the pitch on some of them. It doesn't sound like it's changing the pitch at all. I'll live. Now we got to take the same type of thing for the next part, which we could borrow. Matter of fact, before I do that, let me put this bass in there. And it's going to follow the kick on the reds. Put that on track 2. Put these 2 kicks on track 3. And we're just going to sidechain them. I'm going to use the peak controller to do so on the kick. If I could find it though. Alright. And then link to controller. In this case, peak controller, peak. We're going to invert it so it does a ducking effect. Take off the conflicts. There we go. Now we got to get that in key by moving it to D. I swear I'm not trying to rhyme on purpose. Now for these drums, I was going to copy and paste them and change them, but it's probably a bit more fun to just make it up because it feels like I said, Timbo made two different beats and they magically married it together. I have no idea the thought process of why they would do that. I know the necessity of it, but I ain't got time for that. So this one be more snare heavy. Okay. My mouse bugging. And I'm gonna do the classic tempo bounce, just the same old bounce. Now the hats on this, I'm gonna just do regular and then do different kind of triplets. And this should be the same story. They're in the same key. They're in a different, mode of the key, but they're the same key. It should just be D still. But it has to follow your kick so it doesn't get that weird effect to it. Now, the most important thing is, how do you sauce it up so everything ties together? What they did, they filtered everything out. So we're going to do the same thing. We're not going to reinvent the wheel. We're going to listen to what happened in the original song, if you can reference it or get it on YouTube, run it. And what I noticed was when Meek's part was over, the new sample came in almost right away, but it was filtered. So I'm trying to think, can I emulate that? And the Love filter will do the filtering part, so that I'm not worried about. We're going to do that simple triangle low pass, and we're fine there, but it's actually making me kind of upset. So I'm going to go ahead and do it like this. Something like this. Something like this. Like that. Boom. Take the drums out. Maybe I'll extend it. Something like that. There we go. Yeah. And then one more just for good measure because we can, really. At the end of the day, you can. So I'm gonna take this halftime and cook it up the same way. I think we have to keep this one off by default, if I'm not mistaken. Nah. So same story, pretty much the same shape as well. I actually might bring it closer. I might do it here and have some kind of overlay like that and bring it down here. Maybe sooner. Yeah, that'd be better. You could barely hear it, probably on the video, but it's just sweeping through the low pass. Yeah, and it'll come back around too. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. I think I figured it out. I stumbled across it, and you guys get a chance to see me stumble across that. But let me just give you a brief breakdown of what happened, just in case we got to this point. We're like, yo, how did we get here? So basically, I analyzed this track off video. I noticed there's something very peculiar about the music. It changed keys on us. So this particular track's in two different keys. The original, one's in F minor, one's in F major. And then in doing so, Timbo and his exotic style of composing and picking samples, it's just very crazy. Like, it's real low key. So when you try to duplicate that experience using the same intervals they use in their chords from those samples or whatever that they were using, it doesn't feel the same way. So in order to manipulate that, we had to adjust the play style with the staccato and the arp, and we also had to double time or half time one of them, so that the repetition or the pattern of it was exactly the same. So even though the key changed for the rest of the chords, that movement is still there. And then the crazy part where he starts getting all crazy with the drums, you can do whatever you want there. I mean, it's Timbo, like, you know, it wouldn't even matter. He could have had the same whole same drum kit through the whole beat. It wouldn't have mattered to us. So, and then once that's all said and done, I had to troubleshoot a little bit because the key that we picked, A minor, didn't sound good when you went between A minor and A major, because A minor sounds like C major. So we're really going from C major to C minor, or I'm sorry, C major to A minor, and it just sounded goofy. So the D minor and D major made them both sound dark enough for this to work and pull it off. And we filtered it, affected it, make sure there's a nice little transition or time for the one song to rest and end, and for the next one to begin. Tickled the ears, tricked everybody. 2 different beats, 1 project, 2 different rappers. Same old Timbaland. But anyway, comments, questions, or concerns, definitely let us know in the comments. If you want to hit us up on social media, you're more than welcome to do so. I'm at MGTheFuture. Also, be sure to follow at Maschine Masters. Thank you guys for your support. Until next time, peace.